And what that means is that I may be looking at data that archaeologists are not looking at all. For the moment, archaeologists are not interested in and apparently completely unaware of the fact that an extinction-level cataclysm took place on this planet between 12,800 and 11,600 years ago, right in the foundations of the edifice of history that they have built. But they've built their edifice of history without taking account of this extinction-level event in its foundations. And that surely has to shake everything up. The possibility that the myths of a former golden age, which are universal, which are worldwide, of a great civilization with almost magical powers, which was destroyed in a global cataclysm involving flood and fire, the possibility that these myths are true now must be taken extremely seriously in the light of the two factors: the evidence, the firm scientific evidence for a massive extinction-level global cataclysm between 12,800 and 11,600 years ago, and archaeological sites that are coming out of the woodwork that cannot be explained by the existing model of history. This is shaking everything up, and this is the reason I've written this book, as a matter of fact.
Let's bring up that photo of the Younger Dryas, because this is the time we need to segue into the background and explain what this is, because a large part of this book is about this period in time of the Younger Dryas. And some of my audience may know what it is, many may not. Explain briefly what we're talking about, because this is critical to the understanding of the whole thing.
It's a phenomenon that's been known about for many decades. We have very good climate records of the last ice age and of the last 20,000 years. And here's how it was, that the peak of the last ice age was about 21,000 years ago. The world was at its coldest, the ice sheets were at their deepest, covering most of the northern half of North America, most of the northern half of northern Europe, and then slowly the climate began to warm and the ice sheets began to thin out a bit. Not a lot. They were still very much intact by 12,800 years ago, but they were less, substantially less than they had been 20,000 years ago. And then, just as the world is going into this nice warming trend, there's a sudden radical change in climate. And climate, the temperature drops massively. And we see that spike here, where above the letters YD, as the global temperature just plunges to as cold as it was at the coldest point of the Ice Age. And this episode lasts for 1,200 years, from 12,800 to 11,600 years ago. And then, equally mysteriously, global temperature rockets up again. I mean, these changes in temperature are gigantic. Any modern talk of global warming, and let's set aside all the issues around that, any modern talk of global warming is just peanuts, is just a tiny, tiny little blip by comparison with what happened during the Younger Dryas. And the other thing that we know happened during the Younger Dryas was that there were massive global extinctions of animal species, although the epicenter of these extinctions was in the Americas, particularly in North America. It was a global problem. So clearly something very, very bad happened, and this attracted the attention of a group of very major mainstream scientists, earth scientists, geologists mainly, who were trying to get to the bottom of this. Why did this sudden climate shift happen? What caused it to happen? And they began to investigate. They began to look at the earth. They began to look at the stratum of soil that goes back to that period. And what they found in that stratum from 12,800 years ago was a thick layer of soot, which is evidence of continent-wide wildfires. And embedded in and just below the soot, they found a number of very specific things. They found nanodiamonds, tiny, tiny diamonds that are only visible under a microscope. They found melt glass, which is basically trinitite, the stuff that you know we saw after the first nuclear explosions on Earth, the evidence of.
Hello, humans. I need to tell you something. Y'all just a little ignorant species. I know, I don't have a mouth. I talk through ESP. Y'all seem to think that you own a planet. Let me tell you something about the universe. You don't own a damn thing. You're on a rock that we use for resources, and if you're there the next time we come back, a lot of bad things gonna happen. Just an FYI. What's up, people? It is Sunday. It is the weekend. Happy Sunday to y'all. I get to talk about fun stuff. I don't have to talk about no politics, because there's no poly. Somebody asked me, what does that mean? What is politics? Well, so poly got multiple sides. I'm not joining anybody's side. I'm not on anybody's team. I'm on this planet Earth. This is not a home. This is a temporary rental. And I mean to get the hell off of this with the 1%. If they're going, I'm going to go with them. But I'm not going to sit here and join sides with y'all fighting over silly stuff. So somebody got me pulled. Y'all tried to pull me into the politics this morning. No, I'm not going down that road. That is not my weekend. My weekend is full with happiness and joy. I don't care about no poop holes. I don't care who said it. I don't care who made it. I don't care nothing. I only care about the people in the poop hole. So, but we're not going down that route today. I was down some rabbit holes today. Oh, I was down some delicious rabbit holes. I took the red pill. I started clicking on some of the stuff some of my more friends, alternative friends sent me. Oh my gosh. Beautiful stuff we're going to talk about today. I like to talk about a few things, but I'm always going to try to talk about it in my common, I think it's common sense to me. I don't think there's such thing as common sense. I don't think anything is common anymore. But to me, I'm gonna talk about it in a form of analytical speak that I think is productive as opposed to divisive and destructive into either extreme. So anyway, let me see if we got a quorum this morning, because I can't sit here and talk to the universe and nobody's around. You got Brother Emil. Yeah, the VW, bro. I used to have a VW. That was my first car. It had a hole in the bottom. I used to drive to school. It was funny. It was red, but by the time I got it, it was pink. My parents didn't believe in making me ignorant and spoiled, so I had to buy a $400 car. So by the time I got the red Volkswagen Bug, it was pink. Yeah, some of the people I went to high school with, they said, the guy drove a pink Bug with the hole in the floor. That's me. They talk about me. So anyway, Deborah, good morning. Elaine and Jasmine and Diane and Shay and Georgia and Brother Will, Brother Greg. Greg, don't tell no secrets. I didn't seen you, Greg. I saw you on the thread. You stopped telling secrets, talking about some TR. I seen it. You telling secrets. You don't tell the rest of the story, Greg. You're not Paul Harvey, brother. Let's let everybody come to the truth at the same time. We got Katie and Alice. Gretchen, Marsha, okay, we got a whole, but Buddha, Elaine, a.k.a. Elaine Buddha Cat. All right, I see you in the house. Okay, Jennifer, Brother Don is here early now. Alice, okay, we got a whole bunch of people today. Alicia, okay, we can talk about some crazy stuff. And welcome to the room, Mary. I'm sorry if I missed anybody. I try to get through the shout outs. I don't know why people like crazy stuff, but they like to watch the crazy stuff. So I like to post the fun stuff on the weekends where we can talk about stuff that we're not supposed to talk about. Because I think you kind of got this alternative direction that a lot of people are starting to lean towards because they're realizing everything's a lie. And then you got like extreme alternativism. And like, that's the stuff that those of us who just been watching stuff for decades, like, yeah, they lying. You're not ready for these lies, but we got, like Brother Greg was putting some we got some big lies, but we're going to talk about the little lies. So anyway, welcome to the show. You ain't never seen me. Ain't no show. I don't want to say it's a show. This is just me talking with some of my favorite friends who do a lot of reading. Some of them writers, some of them musicians, and they're just people who pay attention to other things. They don't watch CNN and Fox and MSNBC and get lost in the nonsense. We like to talk about stuff that's significant. And guess what I was thinking about today? It's crazy as all heck, crazy as all get out. We don't get to stay here, y'all. Like, I was listening to Brother Graham Hancock, and that's who just started off the post. I posted that interview about an hour ago with Antidote. But he was basically talking some truth. But he's always talking truth. That's Graham Hancock. He don't care anything but archaeologist communities accepted. If he finds evidence of something else that it smells like the mainstream is BS, he pipes it out. So, but what basically he's explaining, he likes to talk about Gunung Pandang. We're going to talk about Gunung Pandang. Oh, we're going to talk about water. We're going to talk about some triangle UFOs. We're going to talk about a few other things. I took the red pill, y'all, and it was just like blowing my mind up. So I don't know where this is going to go. This is going to go crazy place. So, but he was talking about the Younger Dryas period. And he was talking about how basically why we are a species with amnesia, the fact that something keeps blowing our memory. literally something keeps blowing the earth up, blowing our memory. If it's not some floods, it's some asteroids, some comets, something is always coming along and wiping out humanity, which is why they love Gunung Pandang. And we need to pay attention to that site because it's one of the few sites that goes back 20,000 years, back past the Younger Dryas period in the Ice Age, where all technology, all people, everything was wiped out. So we need to pay attention to the fact that this is not our home. This is not our home. I was asking, well, why do I talk about UFOs and aliens? Because the next generation has to look up, people. This is not our home. We don't get to stay here. This is literally a rental. If you look at how the universe looks, and if you think about all the world's major religions and most of the civilizations, this comes to an end. You look at science, you just look at the fact that the sun is expanding. One day, the sun is going to be where the earth is. And if you are still here, if your lineage is still here, they're going to be some gas. That's I'm not even, is there gas in the sun? One of my scientific friends can answer that question. But we don't get to stay here. And so this is why I like to look up, because the next generation has to look up. Like I got some weird kids. I try to raise them weird best that I can. But, you know, I had a friend who worked for NASA, and Sister Donna, she done seen some stuff that's not supposed to be on the moon. She's seen stuff that's just not supposed to be there. So, and I show that to my kids when I was young. And the reason why I do that is because I don't want my kids growing up disbelieving in things because the television doesn't talk about them, right? Like the television is your enemy. I'm going to tell you now, if you're not paying, the media is your enemy. It is a tool. Well, it's not the enemy. Tool of the enemy. Tool of the enemy. And that's what we started. Y'all tried to take me into politics this morning. That's where we started to go. But I pulled it back. I found some UFO photos. I pulled it back. But the media is your enemy. And if the media picks what you talk about, they pick your reality. If they pick your side for you, they pick your reality. If they pick the battleground, they pick whether you're going to lose or whether you're going to win. If they pick your weapons. And so I'm not going into poo holes. Y'all want to go into poo holes. I don't go into poo holes. I just think human beings should not be in poo holes. So, but it's the same thing. It's not just about presidents who talk about dung holes. It's also about kids. And in the future, are they going to be looking up? Are they going to be fighting about what's down? You know what I mean by that? Are they going to be fighting about oil like we are today? Ignorant, fighting over coltan and minerals and high electronics, and saying people with these smartphones talking about how slavery shouldn't exist. You want them looking up. You want them looking at our future. You know, we don't get to stay on this planet. Like microbiology doesn't get to stay on the planet. Anything bigger than microbiology does not get to stay. If you are a multicellular organism, you are borrowing this planet. You are on a rental agreement. And when that rental contract expires, your species will expire. In fact, to be honest with you, we don't have to wait for the sun to expand and get here. We're going to go way before then. We might go next year. We might go in 10,000 years, but we are going to go. Multicellular organisms, this is not our home. We are given a chance on a planet for a temporary period of time in a place that only has temporary civilizations to get the hell off of it. And if we're not smart enough to continue to push the next generations into looking at the future and getting the hell out of here, creating some sort of habitat or something where we can live, that has a stable climate, a stable environment, something that gets to keep the human race on going, then we go extinct. That's how this works. And if you get paused and tripped up in the process, fighting over oil and minerals and political parties and like some ticks, politics, you go extinct. You know, you have to figure out that you're a part of the human race. You're not a part of the Democrat race or the liberal race or the green race or the black race or the white race or the Asian. You're not part of any of those races. You are a part of the human race. And if we don't act together and start to develop what our future has to be, then we stop existing as a species. And this is why I like to look into ancient archaeology, right? You look back into the past of what came before us? You know, we are a species with amnesia. And who was here before us? Why are there tracks all over the planet in stone? Who was driving that car? You know, who made the pyramids? How the hell they make them? And if it's not all the pyramids, just one of the pyramids, Giza. Who made the mine? Who made the Kosovo pyramid? How did they make it? Where is that technology? Who made the Sphinx? Why did they make it? Who made all the hundreds of cities they're finding underneath the oceans? These are very important questions. Gunung Pandang. Why is that so important? Let me go on Gunung Pandang. I know I pronounce it wrong. Leave me alone. I'm doing the best that I can. Gunung Pandang. So Gunung. Who made Gunung? Why is there a pyramid there? Who put all the stones? Well, actually, we're not so interested in that because the person who put the stones up there, that was a younger generation. But who built the pyramid underneath it? They did scans into the pyramid and they realized that there are multiple layers. That, you know, the same thing that happened with Egypt, where you have, you know, site upon site is built on top of old sites. Same thing with Israel and Rome and everywhere else. We like to build where our ancestors built. And so we built temples on top of new temples. And so they found the caverns in Gunung Pandang. What's in those caves? What's in the caverns? You know, the modern archaeology comes and says, well, that's some lava tubes. Okay, but they built a pyramid on top of lava tubes. Why would they do that, right? Why would they build a temple on top of a big mountain that looks like a pyramid? What's in those two? And so nobody's looking in, well, somebody's probably looking in the caverns. It's not us. It's the 1%. They're over there digging in. They're finding, because they know we don't get to stay here. They know. And so Gunung Pandang, that's something you could pay attention to. But we got to build a home. Welcome home, y'all. Welcome home. Y'all know he's coming. We home. This home. We are in Elysium. We are in Elysium, and this is our home, right? Our home is not going to be, let's see if I can get a picture of it. Our home is, that's not it. Where's our home at? I had our home. Nope, that's not our home. That's me. Our home looks like, I'm gonna find our home. There you go. There you go. There we go. We home. We home. All right. Our home is in space, right? Like if you really think about the future of any species that gets to exist and stay in existence, you have to be a spacefaring species that builds massive, massive environments for your species to exist in. And if you don't hand everything, all the power and money and wealth and everything to the 1%, where they build a little ship, or actually probably a big ship, but it'll just be for them and it won't be for your kids or your grandkids or great-grandkids, then you get to stay here when the floods come. You get to stay here when the asteroids come. You get to stay here and go extinct while they get the hell off here. This is why I think sometimes people look up and they see the UFOs. I think that just might be the 1% of all the other races, right? Like the 1% figured out we don't get to stay here. Like they did the math. And this is just physics and math and basic science. We don't get to stay on this planet. So either we're developing our technology to murder everybody, murder each other so the 1% can stay in power and just keep us fighting over stuff on this planet, or we look up and we keep questioning your long-term strategy, 1%, does not include us. And if we're not smart enough, it's not going to include us. So we need to be building these massive ships, right? We need to be at least working on the technology to get there, you know, not necessarily making the tanks and the different stuff. And so these big, massive ships, right? Like it could look something like this. You know, this is what our kids need to focus on. Our kids don't need to focus on working for Goldman Sachs. Our kids don't need to be financial planners. Our kids they need to be focused on what's coming in the future. You know, massive asteroids heading towards the planet. Y'all see Armageddon? Y'all see the movie Armageddon? You know, with I forgot who the actors were. A couple of them. Bruce Willis and a couple of them. They went up in a spaceship and they blew up the asteroid, saved the human race. It's not going to happen. That's Hollywood. It's not going to happen. All right. The asteroids coming, the comets coming, we're dying. In fact, when you look at the Younger Dryas and you listen to what Grant Hancock and them were talking about, it actually wasn't one big comet. There were multiple small pieces of the comet. And not only that, so the comet came through, broke up in pieces, hit the Earth with enough rocks to extinct most life and start, kick us back into the Ice Age. But then it pummeled the Earth for centuries afterwards. So it's not that the asteroid comes in and hits you and misses you. It's that when it gets you, it's going to go around the elliptical orbit, come back around, get you again, go back around, come back around, get you again. So, you know, we luckily have made it as long as we have. It makes sense to me that alternative archaeology finds human footprints all over the planet with dinosaur footprints. It doesn't faze me or bother me from a logical perspective that they find giants' footprints all over the planet. Most religions and ancient cultures talk about there used to be some damn giants and we don't know where the hell they went. So none of that's very surprising. You know, Alexander the Great, when he went to China, he came back and said, these dudes riding dinosaurs. Like, we're not invading China. They got dinosaurs. They ride. No, they didn't know what dinosaurs were, but they were massive beasts that the kings rode on. You know, Triceratops. I don't know. Who knows what it was? You know, you look at the Aborigines. The Aborigines talked about how that great lizard roamed the planet, and they finally found the bones. That the damn great lizard was real. The lizard big as a truck, used to walk around, eat people, 50 feet long. You know, like these things are real. Listen, I got friends see Bigfoot. Yo, I got friends. I got all kind of friends. I got friends that see Bigfoot in the West Coast. And they see Bigfoot. Oh, Bigfoot is fake. Bigfoot is, and now they dug up Gigantopithecus, you know, and they got his bones. There was a big ape that was walking around North America. And so try to look at alternative stuff. Try to look at second opinions, right? Try to listen to the things that are based in something that's logical and factual. But I'm going down to it. And so the point is, look at alternative things. But we actually need to send the kids down this path of looking at making some massive ships. Like, they need to be in sustainability classes, right? Like, every high school, every university should be pushing every kid in the direction of how do we live sustainable to make it on this planet long enough to get the hell off this planet. So when that extinction, the next extinction level event comes, we're not here. They need to be making fleets of ships. Y'all ever watch Battlestar Galactica? Great show, great documentary, great documentary. There's a documentary talking about how we got here. It'll bless you, it'll bless you, watch it. But that's like our future. And so kids need to be focused on that, energy and how to grow food in space and how to grow food under different types of light that we'll find from different solar systems and different suns. Like, you ever look into the Earth's oceans theories, right? Like, the flat earthers, they're not totally crazy. I'm not gonna say they're crazy. There are some points, right? And one of the points is the Earth is it has large hollow spaces. We know this now because when minerals are now coming to the surface, we're finding they actually have remnants of environments that have water. So we know there are oceans under the Earth. In fact, one of the scientists I was watching, he was talking about how there's significantly more water under the Earth than on the Earth, and that it's a delicate balance, that if we actually lose that water, that it's gonna just act like a wicking service, and it's gonna wick all the water off the planet back down into the ocean. Can you imagine what's gonna happen if all the water on the planet wicks back down into the core of the Earth? Do you know what happens to us if that happens? Nothing good, I can tell you. Absolutely nothing good. And so these extinction level things always happen. Oh, you know what? Europa is another awesome one. So Europa, there's so many things I want to talk about today. Let me try to get through these things. There's just so much going on. Europa, so now they're finding all of these planets that are just full of oceans and ice, right? Oceans under ice. And there are a whole bunch of them. And I think they even suspect that Sirius is one of them. Let me get my pictures. Where are my pictures at? And so we have to pay attention to the fact that, yeah, these planets aren't like solid to the core all the time, that they are hollow. They've got water in them. And some of the things I think about if you're like some sort of species flying around in space, and you know you can't live on these planet things, that these planet things, something's always going to kill you if you stay on a planet thing, then you won't put your civilizations on the planet things. All you'll do is show up and say, you know what? We need a little more dirt. we need some more soil, we need some more water. We got to keep growing our food. We got to keep, we need some diamonds, we need some gold. It powers the oxygen rebreathers. If you breathe selenium, it powers the selenium rebreathers, if that's the galaxy you came from. But that's our place. Our place is out there in space. And everything, literally, everything we do every single day that is not focused on getting the human race out of here, you're basically feeding into what's going to extinct the human race. Like, I do believe, I don't believe, I kind of know. People, they look at you funny, say, I believe in aliens, UFOs. First of all, it's a mathematical impossibility that there's not something else out there. Whether it came here or not, that's up for debate, But there are things that we believe. One of my good brothers, Gerard, said, he said, believing in aliens and UFOs, it's a religion. It's based on belief. I said, you know what, you're right. It actually is. It is based on belief, like pretty much everything else. I go to work every day, it's based on belief that I'm going to get paid. I'm going to get a paycheck. And with that paycheck, I can buy some food and I can pay a mortgage and I get to live and survive. And so what do we do that's not based on belief? We vote based in belief. And every time we vote, we find out the vote was wasted because nobody does what they say they're going to do. Everything we do is a religion. Everything's based on belief because we really don't know any facts. Hardly. There are very few things that are actually factual. So I believe things based in my experience, who I know, and what they've seen. I've got enough friends who have worked in some of these areas, and they've seen things they're not supposed to see. I personally have seen human beings do something, my ex-wife and I, that it wasn't supposed to do. I've got friends who've been to India and throughout certain places, and they've seen people do things that human beings, through accepted modern physics, we are not supposed to be able to do. So what's in the mainstream is never true, right? What's in the mainstream is what whoever controls most things wants you to think about and talk about, which is why you should never think about and talk about what's on television. Look between the cracks, take the red pill, find out what they're not talking about and focus on that. So theories of extinction. Extinction is the default. Extinction is the default. If we stay on this planet, we will go extinct. Every species before us that's been on this planet, even if you believe in some reptiles or something, they went extinct. If we stay here, we will go extinct. So everything we do every single day, really, if we're wise, and we actually believe science, how they say trust the science and they lie about what the science is, is corporate and pseudoscience. If we trust the science, we need to be pushing our kids to questioning everything and focusing on how the heck to get off this rock. So extinction is on its way. So let me show you this. And so this is why I think, every time we have one of these Hollywood movies come out, it's always aliens coming on some big ships. Why are they always on big ships? I think those are partially documentaries. I think they're kind of explaining that most aliens don't fly around in little ships because aliens are just species that lived on planets like us in colonies started by genetic engineers, call it God, Buddha, whatever you want to call it, fine with all that, microbiology. But we're little colonies that we got to evolve and get off, which is why all the spaceships that come, they're big, massive motherships. And theoretically, if this, and this is a theory I have, it's just something I'm thinking about. If these things are flying around and they're popping out of the sky, they're here to get something and leave. It's kind of like, if you're going to work, I like to go to work in anthill example. You're going to work and there's an anthill. The ants, I know they don't fit too well because the ants are smart. We're not that smart. Ants work together. But anyway, so we're going to work and you see an anthill and you pull over and you look on the anthill and you see, I don't know, a piece of a watch coming out the top of the anthill. And the ants built a house all up around a watch, gold watch, real nice watch. What are you going to do? 9 times out of 10, you're going to dig the watch up. Why? Because you need the watch. You're thinking about, hey, that's a gold watch. Damn it, let me get the watch. Are you thinking about the ants that you're going to hurt when you dig the watch up? Are you thinking about the ants? Or are you thinking, oh, I want to get my hands dirty. I don't want to get no ants on my hands. I need to get the watch. I think if we ever are to meet these aliens, and by the way, that picture's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. You flying around the galaxy in a massive ship, you've done this a billion times before. And the little creatures that live on the planets, they're not going to blow your spaceship up. Just not going to happen. So just not, it's not. I'm in IT, trust me. I saw the movie. It's not going to happen. That's just not how it goes. We don't have any software. We're going to be uploading viruses and that's just, okay. So, but when they come here, they're going to come here and they're going to say, you know what? We're here to get water, you know, and they're going to take the water and they're going to leave. But as they grow, you know, so imagine this is a species, because we don't know how old the universe is. As far as we've seen out, it's 15 billion years old, right? So if you're flying around the universe for 15 billion years, at a certain point, and you're just grabbing resources off of these planets, you're grabbing watches out of anthills, and you're not worried about the ants that you hurt as you grab the watch, your spaceship at a certain time is going to become quite massive. In fact, it's probably going to become as massive as to a point where it deflects light from stars. And that actually enters into some great discussions about why do we spend billions and billions of dollars sending up satellites all the time looking for life? You know, the new satellites coming up, what is it called? The Webb telescope. The Webb telescope's coming out so they can actually see the planets. You know, we've got the Hubble and we've got the infrared viewing one. And what do they see? They see massive structure. Remember the one where they saw the massive structure that's actually in orbit around some planet and they think it's a Dyson sphere? Is it a Dyson sphere? Where they're just collecting energy from a star. You've got the massive pictures of the massive UFO. Something, we won't call it UFO, something flies up to the sun and harvest plasma or whatever and flies away. A lot of these things make sense. Thank you, Sister Mary. And the moon. The moon is not supposed to be there. Y'all know it's mathematically impossible for the moon to be precisely where it is, where a solar eclipse is even possible. So great things. But so after a while, you become a Death Star, right? After a while, you become so big. And then you got to make another one. Then you got to make, because your population's, you know, dividing and growing. You're getting bigger and bigger. And so eventually you're just flying around in space, harvesting things. And you know better than to live on one of these extinction rocks, which all a planet is. And so meeting aliens is not going to go well. And this is what I believe, and I'm with Brother Stephen Hawkins when he talks about we don't want to broadcast that we're here. We don't want to let anybody know we're here. And we don't want to meet any aliens. Now, mind you, I think there probably are a lot of aliens that people discuss. They're benevolent, they're malevolent, and they're people who know them and stuff like, okay, I got some friends who are some aliens. And I'm good with that too. I'm good with all the theories. But just thinking about it, theoretically, the vast majority of species that couldn't survive on their planets, that just had to get the hell out, they're just coming for some resources. And thank you, Gretchen. They don't care about the bugs. Gretchen does, but they don't. Now, if Gretchen's leading that species, then they do. But think about Earth and how things work on Earth. If things repeat themselves in the macro scale, how they do in the micro scale, do most people, are they concerned with bugs? Do most people, you know, would they try to get the watch in a way where it doesn't affect the anthill, or would they just take the watch and keep on going, not worry about how many ants get caught in the tunnels and dies and stuff like that? So things to think about. But see, and I think we're actually the first generation that has enough information to actually make an intellectual decision that we're probably not alone. And the universe probably is a pretty harsh place like the planet is. And maybe we should pull our resources together by pushing our kids in a direction of not thinking this stuff is crazy, but that it's plausible, just from a scientific perspective alone, that we don't get to stay here. So interesting things. I think we talked about, it was a few weeks ago, I had a post where the tracks, was it Peru, where they've got the tracks where it looks like some sort of a harvester landed thousands of years ago and just harvested a whole bunch of soil, and then it flew away. You know, the track started, it was like 50 miles or something like that, then the track stopped. Like, these are the things that we need to pay attention to. That brother, Frederick, I forgot his name, not for Alexander Koinich, the Russian scientist, Russian geologist who's looking at those tracks in the rocks, that, maybe that was, he says it's some sort of an ancient car. Maybe that was something that came here and just, did its harvesting fluid. Because I think we'll get to a point where we won't even go to the planet, right? Like, let's think about it from our perspective. I like to think things out. I'm just thinking through it. We'll get to a point where, why are we going to waste time going to the planet? Why are we going to waste time even going to the ant? We're flying through the galaxy just checking stuff out. We have drones that do that. We'll send off drones. Maybe we'll give them big heads. Maybe we'll give them big eyes. They don't need mouths. They don't need to talk, because they don't need to talk to the ants. They just need to go get some gold or some silicon or some coltan or something. And whatever's there, the software, the drones don't even care about. They just land, they take what they need to, suck the ocean up, whatever, and fly away. So things to think about. Brother Jason, what are you talking about? He said, do you think there may be some top secret research at the South Pole? I watched something that explained that there could be warm pockets up in the ice. Yeah, or under the ice. I think something's in Antarctica. I do. I don't know what's there. You have the testimony of people coming back, like the pilot who said there's a big hole and there's research happening in a hole. There was that theory about that the group of scientists that disappeared for like a week or two or something, and they found them, and what they saw. What I don't know. I kind of like to look at the facts and determine if somebody's lying to me, right? Like, because that's the extent where I think even the mainstream people will go with. The fact that we can't go to Antarctica. I'm talking to you right now, you cannot go, no, you cannot book a flight and go to Antarctica. You are banned. If you are not a part of a government and the upper echelons of that government, or you're not a research scientist that have deep ties into one of the world governments that have bases in Antarctica, you will not be going to Antarctica. And if you are lucky, 0.000000001% of human beings that actually got to go to Antarctica, they tell you precisely where you step. They log where you're gonna go. You have an escort. They watch you on radar if you have a helicopter or an airplane, and they escort you the hell off the ice. That tells me something's there. Yes, and I think Diane is right. It's Santa Claus. They got Santa Claus down there. They got Santa. They chain him up and they let him out at Christmas time. He fly around, deliver gifts. There's something there. I'm sorry, Diane. There's something there. I don't know. I don't think it's just ice. Hey, maybe it's an easy location where they come. Maybe there is a big hole, right? Maybe that's the location where some massive spaceship flies out and harvests frozen water. I don't know. Could be. I don't think the aliens want ice, though. If I were a species flying around in space, there's ice everywhere. Although, so melted water is rare. You'd want to go for the melted water. But, that actually could make some sense, because if we write software for drones to go out and harvest water for us, it might get to the planet. It's got to run sensors, figure out, is the water locked in ice, and is it, underneath some a lake of acid? Is it mixed with some other chemicals? You got to separate out. No. Maybe the easiest place to harvest ice is the South Poles. If you go to the South Pole of a planet, or the pole that's furthest from the sun, it's going to be the coldest, and that's probably the best chance of finding water in a frozen form. And maybe the drones just always go to the South Pole, harvest, and leave. And so, I don't know. Could be. Brother Jason, what I don't do, I don't tell people what they know and they don't know, right? Everyone believes something different. And if somebody comes back and says, I went to the South Pole and they got aliens in a hole and they're studying them, I'm going to say, dang, that's crazy. Really? And I'd be interested in somebody investigating it. But what I don't do is I don't tell people they couldn't possibly know something that they've seen. Now, I think there are people probably who experience things, right? I saw a UFO once. I was driving home, and I saw this UFO. I looked up, and it's a UFO, unidentified. I think that's the most important point people need to focus on. It's unidentified. You say UFO doesn't mean it's aliens. It means it's unidentified. I was driving home, and I saw something fly up in the sky, move, zipping around. I'm like, oh my God! Ah! I got my phone out and hit the record, whatever. I got to get this on film. I started filming, and I got within probably 100 feet of it. It was someone playing with a drone. It was someone, it was nighttime, so it had a light on it, but it was a really nice drone, but it was someone flying around. So I think we see things, we experience things, and we can't forget about what the U is, which actually walks me down into what Brother Greg was talking about. Let me see. Let me shoot over here. So in terms of the U in UFO, we have to accept that our governments are always lying to us. And that's why I talk about everything. I don't avoid any topics, even the ones that seem crazy. I'd love to talk about Loch Ness Monster if I can find something that looks interesting in terms of factual data. Our governments are always lying. And they lie about everything. Everything's significant. And they always push us down these directions of what to talk about, what not to talk about. And they build societies on if you talk about something that's crazy. That's how we got to where we are today, right? That's how we got to a world that's completely unsustainable in every single way. There is not one sustainable industry. Do you know that? Actually think about that for a second. Raising a generation of kids to become investment bankers, and there is not even one sustainable industry on this planet. There is not one sustainable big corporation on this planet. Not even the sustainability industry is sustainable. Just to process that for a minute. Not even the green industry with solar panels and wind vanes are even sustainable. How smart are we to continue to raise generations of kids to go out and acquire wealth? It's just crazy. But so the thing is, the U in UFO. I had an uncle worked on something called the SR-71. It's a Blackbird, right? Unfortunately, I think some of the things he was exposed to gave him cancer and he died. But that's how this goes. I have a father that did that as well. However, I'm not allowed to know all the things he worked on. I have a little smidgen of some of the stuff he worked on, which is kind of crazy. But you die when you work with technologies nobody really understands, which is why there can't be any secrecy in any government, anywhere on this planet, because the technologies we're messing with are possibly world-scale disaster level. So the SR-71, the Blackbird, it was a UFO for a long time. People saw pictures of it. Skunk Works down Area 51 took pictures of it. Oh, it's a UFO. And they were right, it's a UFO. Didn't mean it was aliens, it was the American government, because we always have technology we don't know about. And so we go back to that case of, where was that? Arizona, where we had one of the largest mass sightings in history. One of them, there have been many of them, but this was one of them, where they all saw a triangle craft, including, was it the mayor or the governor? And they all, in fact, there was a press conference and they got the guy to dress up, and it was funny as anything. He dressed up as an alien, came to the press conference. We found out who was behind the ship. And everyone said it was a triangle shape, and it had 3 lights on the bottom. And you know how people, they always like to complain, we never got pictures of the aliens. Nah, I suspect that we do. I suspect that all these triangle-shaped UFOs that were all, that now, back then, they were definitely aliens, right? But now, because there are camera phones everywhere, we're starting to get all these, and I know you look at them, some of them like they're blurry. I like blurry UFO pictures. You know why? To me, they're more possibly real than the crystal clear. The crystal clear ones, I'm like, that's Photoshop. I don't even look at it at all. Half the blurry ones I look at like, does that make any sense? But it's kind of like the cigar-shaped UFO pictures. When you start seeing tons and tons of pictures of them, something is up. And so in terms of the cigar shape we were talking about, was it 2 weeks ago? I think that that's something that we need to focus on, because it's rare that pilots are seeing the cigar-shaped UFOs all over the planet, all these pictures, and NASA satellites are seeing them, and NASA, the space station seeing them. And so the cigarette, to me, I don't need to know the U in that. I don't think the human race has the ability to make anything that big. However, the triangle-shaped ones that we're getting lots of pictures of, you can actually start to think about it in terms of the SR-71 and the Blackbird. You know, great pictures are coming in of people who are seeing these things, and triangle-shaped UFOs all over the place. Oh, that's not a UFO. Hold on, damn it. That's a triangle. That's not a UFO. Not a UFO. Okay, hold on. Hey, I'm still going. Y'all stop it. Y'all you can't be too serious. This is silly stuff. We got to have a little fun. But it's not silly in terms of forcing governments to actually tell the truth about things and them not having secrets. More pictures coming in, and it kind of, that one even looks like the one that shut down the what was it, the airport in China. But, you know, you start to look at all these pictures. Everybody's taking pictures of these triangle UFOs. And that actually looks like precisely what the description of the Arizona folks were talking about in the mass shooting. And of course, Brother Greg done told the secrets. Greg, why you tell the secrets? Brother Greg done told the secrets. You know, but there you go. So, and then you get to this place where then the government starts to become a little honest. And they start to tell some of the truth, which is we have technologies that are beyond our reality, right? We have technologies that just we think are magical, right? We've always, and so we always go down the alien route. And it's not, I don't think it's like, if you know me, you know that I don't think it's mathematically possible aliens don't exist. However, we don't know what an alien is and what one isn't, because we don't know the technologies our governments have, because we let our governments keep secrets from even the highest in the land that are elected, right? So even if presidents can't, like, you can get, and I got to say both presidents, anytime I say one, people flip out. You can get Obama, you can get Clinton, you can get Bush, you can get Trump, and they can go say, give me the document for the TR-3B. I want to know the schematics of it. And they will say, no, you're a president. You're not allowed to know that. How is it that we live in a world where we say we have democratic governments and not even our leaders actually get to know the level of technology? If you ever want to like have some fun, go to the internet and type in presidents that believed in UFOs. And you'll find a ridiculous list of presidents who all believe in UFOs. And of course, you're running into Paul Hellyer, the Prime Minister of the UK, of Canada. And so not even the presidents possibly know, not even the leaders we elect know the level of technology that's probably at the highest levels of Russia, China, India, America. We don't even get to know where they came from. Now, personally, I think it's possible that it came from a crashed UFO. Possible. You know, or it's just high technology for warfare that they just don't want people to know about. I kind of agree with Neil deGrasse Tyson, theoretically, when he talks about if a species is flying around the universe, they don't crash in your atmosphere. Now, it's possible, I guess, that if you had a drone, you know, and it went to go harvest something and it crashed in Roswell, New Mexico, that's possible. Maybe you're a young species. I don't know. I mean, we crash probes all the time. But if you're a young species and you're sending up drones and probes, you're not sending them, I don't think, across solar systems. You're just sending them within your solar system. But once you evolve enough to get out of your solar system, because of the vastness of space, you're probably not being affected by lightning, right? You're not being, nothing's shooting down your technology. And so, to me, it's an important discussion that we need to have as a species, because we don't know the truth of what's out there. And I'm not saying people sometimes will get mad. I'm not saying there are no triangle UFOs with aliens piloting them. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we as the human race have a right to know. but we divide up on silly ideas of fighting each other. And so this 1% of 1%, they get to keep all the secrets in the books. And I don't think, maybe there was a time, right? Maybe there was a time for classified information, perhaps. You can think about just evolution and capitalism and what you have to do to get to a point where we live long enough, where our brains evolve enough, or enough of our brains evolve enough that we don't make violent solutions. And I think we're there, right? Most people don't make violent solutions at work. They don't kill each other over staplers. They solve their problems. And so why do we continue to have a government that's allowed to have secrecy? Because the basis of all their solutions are murdering people halfway across the planet. Think about that. And so along that discussion, you put all this into place. And this is why I ask people, you know, try not to argue, right? Arguing is emotional. And finding out the truth is more important than being right. Finding out the truth is more important than being right. And if you can't stand with someone who has a different belief than you, perhaps, you're not evolved enough. We need to evolve a little further to find out the truth. And that takes me to a, hang on, let me see what you guys are saying. I'm off, I was on my tangent, got my coffee going. Let me see, technology is a human invention. Yes, totally agree, Brother Bjorn. A democratic system isn't supposed to have leaders, but I'm not sure what that is, brother. A democratic system isn't supposed to have leaders. So I think you're going down the route of right. So if we actually have a worldwide human democratic system, there doesn't really need to be a leader. Like, if you think about it, and we're evolved enough to operate within a workspace, short of the U.S. Post Office, where people go postal and shoot people, that we actually can operate in a workspace as little republics and work for the benefit of a corporation and handing in the TPS reports and working together and working on projects and solving problems. If we don't really need leaders and presidents in that environment, then we don't need them in the world. So I totally agree, absolutely agree. And the only way that we get there is we have to get to a place where we're actually supportive of each other and we become citizens of the world. And the only way, and so we can't talk about citizens of the world till we become citizens of our own countries or even our own towns. You know, until we get to that place where we can learn to have discussions and not argue and divide up on solutions from those discussions and just say, you know what, that happened to you. Okay, that's horrible. You know, that shouldn't happen to you. I don't have to say something that happened to me or my race or my religion or my people that was worse. I just need to know what happened to you was bad. I agree that that shouldn't happen. Some bad things happen to me too. And how about we work together to make sure that those particular things don't happen again? How about we have an intelligent conversation where we're not denying of what some other people's experiences or beliefs are, and we agree that, okay, well, then the same people actually did the same things to all of us. What if they shouldn't be in power? So things to kind of think about. So where I was going to go, I was next going to make a stop off. Let me see if I can find this, brother. Stop off here. I'm not sure if y'all know who this is. This was the brother who made Coral Castle. Uh-oh. I got my screen is doing its thing. Let me, I can't fade out. That's the only thing when you do this live, crazy things will happen. It'll mess you up. Meanwhile, let's see if somebody knows who that is. All right, well, we're gonna leave it as it is what it is. Oh, I turned green. I was alien for a minute. All right. Okay, so case in point. This is Edward, well, how do you pronounce his last name? Liscanalin. This was the brother that made the Coral Castle, right? So we talk about the pyramids and the theories and how the Egyptians made the pyramids. This was the brother that made the massive megalithic, and they weren't that massive, but they were massive enough structures. And people debate, here, let me get a picture for you. He looks kind of ghostly in that picture. And people debate as to how he made them, right? So he made these structures, and I forgot what state it's in. And he never showed anyone, they say, how he made those structures. And so he took big, massive coral that became limestone over time, structures, and he made them. And there were some pictures and some videos of them making them. And what people speculated was that big box on top. Yes, Florida. Thank you, Deborah. The big box on top of the tripod, they always said that that is a box where he uses vibration and sound to move the mega structures, how the Egyptians or somebody did before the Egyptians. And it's mystical, right? And it's delicious too, because we want to believe that, and we want to kind of go down that route. The realities are, though, outside of vibration, and then people who believe in vibration energy, right? Of course, they're gonna like, whoa, what's he gonna say? He's gonna say that's not true. No, there is something to vibration energy, but this particular brother, over time, as facts have slowly started to come out, we realize how he made those. Right? And you can actually see it in the picture. If you really look real close, that Volkswagen Bug that I got when I was a kid, the first Bug at the first car that I had, it actually, I replaced the engine in it. I rebuilt the engine. I know I did something sustainable. It's crazy, right? I didn't throw the car away. I actually rebuilt the engine when I was 17. But to get the engine out of the car, you actually just lift it. You took 4 bolts, hold the Volkswagen Bug's engine in. You lift up the car, you move it over. But that's not normally how you move energy. Energy. That's not how you move engines. You use what's called a cherry picker. And if you look at that picture very closely, you use a tripod and you use a multiple pulley system. And that allows you to move very heavy objects like car engines. And that actually is how he moved these blocks, right? So, but we've gone how many decades now thinking that possibly it was some sort of secret ancient technology because we don't know the truth. We don't know how they make the pyramids. We never knew what was in any of the caverns because of the modern pyramid robbers, site robbers today. We don't know what's under the paw of the Sphinx. So we never knew, 99% of us anyway, never really knew any sort of frequency level tools or technology that they use to move bricks. So now conspiracy becomes everything. Everything's a conspiracy now because we're not allowed to know the truth. We don't know the truth. And this is like the side effect of allowing certain groups of people to know all the secrets, but the vast majority aren't allowed to know any. You go and you chase a red herring. And so, by the way, if you want to ever look at Edward's videos, there were recent videos that surfaced that actually show him using the pulley system, making those stone structures. And so truth is everything. Truth is everything because people divide it. People have fought over this man for the longest time. Oh, he was mystical and magical. He knew the energy and frequency and the waves. Da, da, da. No, you don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. Da, da, da. And so people, and again, things to divide people up so you actually can keep all the secrets. What's the word? What is that word where they inject false information to kind of lead you down certain directions? Where they actually caught some people who were like ex-CIA, ex-black budget projects that who would just enter false data into the conversation to kind of send people astray. And so there's a lot of that. I don't know if it's obfuscation, one of Debbie's words, but we don't get to know the truth. And so people divide up, they get emotional and extremities come. So this was one. And so breaking down the lies or the misunderstandings is just as important as believing what may be possible. So he's an interesting one to look at. But seeing how we're on frequency, so let's be fair. So we can smash that little myth of a hoax and then talk about, what though, is it possible that they actually moved blocks, heavy objects with wave energy, with frequency? How powerful is wave energy? And I posted something earlier today. I want to shoot over here. I want to talk about something a little different. I posted something earlier today about brother, what is his name? what is his name? I got it. Masaru Emoto. I pronounced it wrong. I always pronounce things wrong. Masaru Emoto. As you get old, you can pronounce stuff wrong. It's okay. People let you. And this was the brother who actually, he did the experiments into water and memory and taking water and actually getting it to change its crystalline shape, right? And so when you start talking about energy and waves and electromagnetism, so what this brother did is he did experiments and he wrote a good book. Yes, thank you, Brother Bajorn, disinformation. And we have to break that down. And so he wrote a great book. And he talked about the studies he did where when he would say certain phrases, the water would change shape. The crystalline structure of the water for playing Mozart's symphony looked like the one in the upper left. For an image of John Lennon looked like another structure. He would say love and it would change structure. They would, I will kill you. And it became this really, what we would perceive to be ugly. And after a prayer, it became a certain structure. After thank you. And so where I'm going with this, and why is this significant and deep? One, it's super significant because, one, we actually don't study these things in the mainstream, right? These things tend to be back alley, alt archaeologists, alt geologists, alt any sort of scientific discipline, alt microbiology. And so all that, to me, what alt means, it just means second opinion. And we become a society that pushes out the second opinions because, one, we're ignorant, but two, there's so many secrets we really don't know, the truth behind things. And there was a, let me see, I got that. So this is Dr. Erie is right. Unfortunately, he died, but these are people that we need to actually talk about. So the idea that you can take water and it can change shapes just based on energy and words and music is huge. The word angel, the word peace, the word spirit, the words you disgust me. What does that? Where does that come from? I suspect that if some people did that experiment, they would not have the same results. Others have done it, and they got similar results. But I suspect it's not actually the words that change the shape of water. I believe that is most likely the person. Why do I believe that? Because I'm in this crazy cult y'all call Christianity. And there are a lot of other, I shouldn't say that. Okay, well, I'm sorry, I take that back. I'm in this group, okay? And I'm not associated in the group in terms of any sort of stance on anything significant. They're just like personal stuff. The only group I'm in is the human race. But what we talk about in that particular understanding of this ancient data that was captured in a lot of different books, most which were all burned up in the Library of Alexandria, so we definitely don't know all the truth, is Jesus said things like, greater things I have done, you will do. If you wanted to move a mountain, you could move a mountain. If you just think about things, so shall they be. And this was a great example that before you eat, you're supposed to pray over your food. Before you drink your coffee, I love you. You're just so delicious and nutritious, and you're brown and just sexy and beautiful. You make me think so well. We friends. We've been friends a long time. You let me post videos because you make me think. My brain work in ways. You're like a pill of NZT. When I take you, you're just so beautiful and wonderful. Oh, just delicious. Prayer. And so if you really think about it, you think about the monks. It's not about Christianity. You think about the monks and the Buddhist monks. And you think about the brother who lived for, they say, 500 years in China. And the Chinese government, remember he lived for 500 years and he did a lot of meditation. He focused on energy. He was an herbalist. And then there was a 2020 special on him. I know some people like, oh, he lived no 500 years. Because I know he couldn't have lived no 500 years because I was over there and I seen him and he ain't lived no 500 years. Meanwhile, you not even 500 years. You like 52. But I know because I ain't never seen nobody live no 500 years. So I know it ain't true. You know it ain't true, do you? Really? Ignorance. So anyway, 2020 went over. It's ignorance in a loving way. Just what I'm saying is we always like to say things that we couldn't possibly know. Just let's accept the fact that we don't know a damn thing. We don't know nothing, you know, and this is why I have friends that are all different types of friends who believe all kind of things because I don't know anything and I don't convince them that I know anything. I think a lot of things are funny and I laugh at my own ignorance. But anyway, 2020 went over and did a special on him. And what they found is they talked to a lot of people in the town he was supposed to live. Somebody opposed his name. My friends, they know all this stuff. I don't know it. But they went and they did a study. They went and they talked to people who lived in the town he lived in, and they met very old people. And they said, yeah, well, our grandparents said that when they were kids, he already was an old man. And I think every 100 years, I think it was, that China, the emperor, actually gave him birthday parties, like when he was 200, and then when he turned 300. And these were documented parties that they had for him as he aged. And so 2020 and the minimum research they did, they said, well, we don't know about 500 years, but it seems that he did live to be like into the 190s, right? How did he do that, right? How? You know, there are a lot of things that we just simply don't understand. And because we don't push anyone to study these things, they go astray. And so how does that relate? Because if the people who study these things say that they can live very long periods of times and to pray over your food and the positive nature of energy and what it can do, and that the correct structure of water allows for increased oxygenization, I think that's a word, and mineralization, that that your body's healthier. You have less anaerobic conditions in your body. So you don't have areas in your body that create disease, like when sugar and other things get caught and you become acidic in certain areas. And so in perfect health, that you could live to be very long periods of, long ages. It goes back to how they talked about in pretty much every major religion that people used to live a lot longer. You know, in ours, that was in the Bible, talked about Methuselah, who lived to be so many years old. In the Garden of Eden, they were supposed to live forever. And then slowly over time, the further they got from the garden, they lived to be 800 years old, then 700 years old, then 600 years old. And the further they got, I think it was in Exodus, I couldn't stand reading as a kid. He beget somebody, beget somebody, beget somebody, and they kept begetting everybody, and they was living hundreds of years, and I thought it was crazy. And so you think about the correct structure of water and how healthy it is, and that we are supposed to pray over our food. We're supposed to say happy things into our food. And that these people live long times and that they are extremely healthy. And it sounds really, really crazy. But then in walks telomere science, right? The fact that that Stanford, I forgot her name, Stanford University, the lady who discovered what the telomeres were. She won the Nobel Peace Prize. And I might be mixing some of those facts up. But I thought it was about 10 years ago, so they discovered what telomeres were. And that the reason why we age is because on the ends of our chromosomes, I wish I had a picture. Let me show you a picture. Because if I show you a picture, then it makes more sense to people. My friends know all this crazy stuff. I just listen to all of it and I try to piece stuff together. But on the ends of and I know somebody will post like a good article. Y'all are always good for that. On the ends of our chromosomes, we have these things. We have these caps on them called telomeres. And so as you age, here we go. This picture worked. As we age, we have what's in our body called the telomerase enzyme. And what the purpose of the telomerase enzyme is actually to repair telomeres. That's its only purpose that we know of. And so, and you would think, okay, well, that makes sense for when you're young. You're a baby and you've got to, grow and, repair things. And so you have this ability. No. The telomerase enzyme, it actually, and people that they look at into their 80s, they still have massive amounts of telomerase enzyme and that your body's still producing it. So why does your body produce something that serves to repair the end caps of your chromosomes, your telomeres, if we actually are supposed to die in 100 years? How does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. So what they looked at, and this is why she won that Nobel Peace Prize, is because when the end caps of your chromosomes become damaged, that you start to have chromosomal damage, right? So your DNA isn't actually complete. Your cells aren't complete. They're not functioning the way they're supposed to in your liver, so your liver starts to fail. Your immune system starts to fail. The white blood cells actually aren't breaking down things in your bloodstream the way they're supposed to, so you end up with cardiovascular disease, you know, and you get autoimmune conditions. So all these things are related to our chromosomes breaking down and a breakdown in DNA, so our bodies don't perform how they're supposed to. But if they do perform how they're supposed to, then we live as long as people in the Bible. We live as long as people in India, in the Mahabharata, and we live as long as was in China, the 12 warriors, you know, the people who have just life beyond, you know, possibility. But the thing is, you got to have an open mind to even accept any of this in, right? You got to actually have a conversation with that religious person who's crazy as all hell, you know, to actually hear about some of the ancient things their religion believed. But you also can't hate science and say we're only 3,000 years old because the Bible says so, and pay attention to the science and start to piece all these things together. And this is what I love about today, is because today, unlike any other time, I think in history, we know that the pursuit of religion and science are the exact same thing, if you're open-minded. If you're closed-minded, then it's, you know, they're totally different. They're just completely different. Pay your tithes and you grant money. You know, they're completely different. But I think if you have an open mind, you're paying attention, and you're starting to realize science is actually walking us into the same story a lot of these religions did. How did these ancient people know that, oh, with your mind you could do these things, that we were going to be greater than Jesus in some way? Deep, 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 scary stuff. And so how does this, so I posted something earlier today also. I was down there. I took the red pill, y'all. I was down the whole day. I was running. They was talking politics, so I had to run. I was like, I'm not talking no politics. And so I went down the hole. And so there was another gentleman who looked at the memory of water. Let me see if I can take you over here. So this was interesting. Oh, okay. So we were talking about, so we're good on Edward. Actually, I had the video queued up for Edward in case anyone was like, you lying, Coral Castle, they made it with magic wands. If you were going to say that, I had the video. I didn't know that I didn't have that queued up. I had the video queued up. Just in case you disbelieve me, and if not, I'll post it in the comments for you if you really want to see the video of him actually making the structure. So there was Jacques Benavist. He was, I know I pronounced his name wrong. He was one of the first ones who started talking about water has memory. And I'm going to let him explain it to you, because usually I can explain it, but I'm not sure I'm going to explain it exactly right. And what was interesting, the way he actually, I'm messing it up. So Jacques was the first one, but we're down to 78. There we go. All right. Are we back? Are we back? Hold on. Let me see. Can y'all hear me? Are we back? Are we back in effect? I tried to pick up where we left off, but I'm not sure if I can do that. I might have to start all over. Can y'all hear me? Yeah, I think we're back. Okay, yeah, some people dropped off. Okay, we'll let people come back. So sorry about that. Get into these places where you lose a little bit of the broadcast. They're always trying to shut somebody down. They try to shut me down. They're shutting me down. They're coming for me. No, they're not. No, they're not. Ain't nobody coming for me. They ain't coming. They could care less. This crazy dude talking again. They could care less. But it's always fun to think that. All right. Let me see. Where are we at? Where are we at? I'm going to cue this up while people attempt to get back in. So, the Nobel laureate, right, lost my train of thought. All right, can y'all hear me? Somebody let me know that you can hear me, and I'll jump back on. Can y'all hear me? I think I'll do that right there. All right. Whew. Boy, this stuff is hard. This stuff is crazy. Can y'all hear me? Hello. Hello. This message is brought to you by crazy people. Buy our products. All right, let me see. No, I think we lost it, so I might have to start all over. Do I need to start all over? Somebody tell me something. Tell me something. Somebody here, y'all can y'all hear me? Am I speaking to myself? I see thumbs going up, so you can't hear me, but somebody got to post it. You got to say, yes, yes, crazy man, we can hear you. Say, yes, crazy man. No, it's good. It's good, Buddha. Is that it? Oh, okay, we back. I know. That's why people don't get it. Like, he's just crazy. Something wrong with him. He spilt my coffee. All right, so we back. I didn't know if I could recover it. I didn't know if I could recover it. All right. Oh man, I got too much stuff going because I start going down these avenues and I get all these links and all this stuff like crazy time. It's crazy time, you know. And I start because I want to talk about how just everybody lying to us. You get all these links and stuff, and then the problem is you get so much data and everything. It's like your computer's like, oh my God, you can't post this much stuff. You can't have this much memory. And so my computer's like, we're not doing this, man. You don't understand how this works. We're not evolved enough to have massive spaceships and fly all over the universe. We can barely keep going without restarting every couple of days. So anyway, all right, welcome back. Welcome back. So I was going to show you this video, but now I'm kind of scared because I got so much open. Let me close some stuff down. So those are telomeres, and that's some deep, deep research into the fact, and this is why it's important to always have an alt, right? You always have to have an alternative view of everything. You want to pay attention to different things that people are talking about. You always want to question yourself and get somebody to question you. You know, like that's how we actually get to a place where we can have some things that are true. So hold on, let me, oh man, and my screen is really messing up now. But this is what happens, the sun goes down. Let me see if I can do some alterations. Look at that. Boom, it's magic, y'all. See, look at that. See, I'm a god. Y'all should worship me. Y'all should worship me. I'm a god. I just made this green screen, fixed it. It's not technology. See, and this is why you go to the Amazon, people land in airplanes, you think it's just God. It's not, well, I guess it could be a god. I guess, you know, I think about those things. People go to the Amazon and they go find these undiscovered tribes, and the tribes start to worship them, which is probably what we do. But to me, it doesn't matter. Like, if God was an alien, a UFO, and just had technology, had green screen technology, hologram technology, I'm okay with that. This is why it doesn't take out the omnipotence of whatever that thing is. It doesn't make it less mystical. My God doesn't need to have feathers and live in a cloud. Like, that's just, we got to get past our manisms, right? Got to let go of the manisms and just let God, whatever it is, be whatever it is. I just happen to think that perhaps it is some sort of a something flying around that's a genetic engineer. So, okay, all right, I think we're stable enough. I had to let some things shut down and try to get some CPU back going. Sometimes things take me a minute. I gotta put my coffee down, hold on. That's how you know somebody's a coffee addict. They can't ever put the cup down. It's like a crackhead, you shake it, you can't put the cup down. All right, let me get this set up for you. I want to show you this video, but I had to make some modifications to reduce some of the CPU load. Is any of this making sense? Y'all think I'm too crazy? Is any of this, is it resounding with you? why we can't have secrets in government, why people can't have secrets, why scientists can't have secrets. We're playing for the stakes of the human race. We're playing for the stakes of the whole earth. And nobody can hide this stuff, right? One scientist can mess up and ruin it for everybody. You ever do that? Your brother ruin stuff for you in your family, in your classroom. One person just ignorant and just ruin it for everybody. You know, we can let the 1% ruin it for us if we're not careful. But we got to know all the truth. Hold on, let me show you this.
On the parking lot. This is where we work. A small lab and a trailer, which looks odd, but it actually serves as our storage space. As you can see, we make do with what we've got when you're into research, especially when your research is temporarily considered extraneous and you get no funds. Here's the lab entrance. I give you a tour if you wish. This is the prefab where Jacques Benveniste finished his last years of lab research.
So that was Jacques Benveniste, and they're just showing his lab. So this is the guy who was looking into water memory, the one who was crazy as all hell, right? This is the one that everyone said is crazy. And to me, it's not that he had an alternative theory that he's crazy. It's that our society's crazy, that a man who actually was on top of something had a damn lab in a trailer. Like, what is wrong with it? What is it with us in trailers? And we always push people living out of, anyway, they did to the school kids. And so this guy should have like a major lab somewhere. Like, I think if you're a scientist and you start doing something and it actually looks like you're onto something, even if it's just based on one little piece of some fact or something that we didn't know, you should be funded, totally funded. You shouldn't have to go to industries and beg for money and grant money and teach a government, tell a government you can make some weapons for them so you can get money to produce your research. As humanity, we should be able to say, this guy knows something that the mainstream guys don't know. Let's give him a massive lab and a lot of students to work with him, because this might actually be the thing that saves us. This might be the thing that allows us to make food on a spaceship for 1 billion years flying around. So anyway, and this is the prize Nobel laureate who picked up the research. And this actually was the gentleman who discovered what HIV was. So very prominent mainstream guy, but of course he took up something that wasn't mainstream, and then you don't hear much about him anymore.
And I started working here with his collaborators in 2005, for a year and a half. Before, he was in a permanent structure here at the INSERM, and obviously that was a source of disappointment and frustration to leave that modern building to end up in that little room.
So I'm gonna go forward. I wanted to show you that. And I want to show you there's an experiment that they did. It's right about here.
We're ready to start our experiment of DNA transduction. The transduction experiment carried out by Professor Montagnier before our disturbing cameras seems like science fiction. Starting with the DNA of an HIV-infected patient, he will create a digital file, send it through the internet to another lab where the DNA will be reconstituted from that digital file. The professor calls it transduction. We could almost call it teleportation.
DNA transduction, class. Say that slow. DNA transduction. And so this was an experiment that they did that actually worked. And so he picked up on the idea that water has memory. And all this is related. It's related to energy, frequency, all that stuff. So don't zone out on me. Keep going with the facts. So they actually did the experiment. And what he basically did is he took the DNA and they put it in water solution. My scientist friends can correct anything wrong that I say. And they used a little centrifuge to actually get all the DNA, all of it out of the water. They recorded the electromagnetic energy that came from the vials. They did a test to make sure that he actually had the right vial, that it wasn't fake. They did it all on the camera. And so he was able to identify this is the electromagnetic energy of the DNA that came from that HIV patient. They took that digital, and that's why they show the zeros and ones, and they took it into the computer into digital format. They transferred it to a lab that I think was in France at a French university. I'll post the video if anybody wants to see it. It's a long video, like I said. I don't have a life, so I love to watch this stuff. And they picked it up in that lab, and they were able to take that and to, and I'm missing this part, but to put it into a vial of water with some basic constructs of DNA, and that DNA reformed the way it was in the original lab. Crazy, right? Insanity, right? No, it's just science. And it's science we don't focus on. And so you can watch the whole thing, but it's off the charts. Thank you, Jasmine, watch. It's off the charts because they kind of explain how it's possible. So hydrogen, you know, the hydrogen, all the elements are all the hydrogen molecules. I'll see if I can take you to it. Here it goes right here. I'll show it to you. Let the smart guy tell you, because I might put some aliens in it. Hold on.
Medicine, a new approach in biology is emerging.
Let me back it up.
And you can think that I can have an app sending you the proper information to your body to obtain an effect. So Steve Jobs last years think about that, or smartphone that could be the object for healing object for the next future. And this is not so far away.
Whether it be about the detection of serious diseases or therapies by wave medicine, a new approach in biology is emerging, based on the information that wave frequencies can carry inside our cells. These are probably the premises of digital biology that Jacques Benveniste foresaw in his prefabricated lab in the 80s.
Crazy talk, but the smart guy said it. Y'all heard, did the smart guy, look at it, they look like some nerds. Smart guy said it, not me. So check this out and think about this. So it's all related. So not only can water be formalized and crystallized in certain patterns by energy in just thought, by prayer and these things, but also water has memory. It can store memory and document what DNA is and what it looks like, or the signals it gets from the electromagneticity of DNA. That's some smart stuff. Listen to that. And then we can transfer it over the internet, right? The little cheap stuff that the censoring, the internet. and basically, I think Diane's probably said it best, remaster the DNA. Now, of course, we don't do it. We don't know how it does it. DNA does all of this, right? So this, you call it the biology of belief and God or whatever, epigenetics. I don't care what you call it. I'm fine with all of that. It just isn't magic. It's just how our world works. A world that we have no idea how it works because we don't fund alternative any damn thing. And so think about why. You watch the end of it. It's crazy because what does that mean? It means that through frequency and energy, we actually could heal everything in your body. Think about that. What he just mentioned, digital medicine. Crazy, right? It's not crazy. But what would happen if they actually had, if I had a little device and I could put it here and it would actually send out a frequency and it would actually modify your DNA back to what your DNA was when you were a kid, where you didn't have HIV, you didn't have cardiovascular disease, you didn't have one of these diseases, you weren't sick, you didn't have Alzheimer's, you didn't have the pains that you do. Your DNA could pick up on that signal, perhaps repair itself the way the telomerase enzymes do, and so it perfects your code and your disease goes away, which means human beings could live forever, which is what they said in the Garden of Eden, which is what the monks have all said, which is what they said in India, which is what they said in China. Crazy, right? No, it's not crazy. It's just the pharmaceutical industry has money to make. That's what it comes down. It all comes down, which is why it's funny, like you walk through all of this and it always comes down to the same damn stupid thing, greed. They got money to make. And because it takes a lot of money to make the medications, why in the world would they let you digitize it and then transmit it to heal everybody? Because it's not about the Hippocratic Oath. They did not go into these fields. Well, a lot of the doctors do actually, but the industry is designed on greed, like the military-industrial complex, like all these other things. And we're not allowed to know the truth because we don't demand there be no secrecy. We don't demand to know all science in the public domain. And so because we allow them to have secrecy, We don't know about the UFOs. We don't know about healing. We don't know what's true. We don't know if there is a secret frequency device that they utilize to move massive bricks. Maybe they just took water and they poured water over massive stones, an ancient species before the Egyptians, over massive stones that made, and they had a frequency that they could play that actually made it easier to cut the stone. Perhaps made it easier, a little lighter, lightweight to lift the stone. Perhaps, I mean, all these things are possible. All of them are possible. And maybe they found it. Maybe it was in Gunung Pandang. You know, maybe if we shoot over to Gunung Pandang, maybe it actually, there is a little ancient piece of technology. And this is why, to me, everything fits together. I want to know it all. I don't know it all. Some people say, you know, oh, you should avoid, don't talk about no aliens. And nope, I'm going to talk about all of it. Because usually, where they're lying, that's where the goodies are. Always look where people are lying. That's where the goodies are. And so in terms of healing and longevity and life and ancient cultures and all the things they talk, all the religions and now scientists coming to agreement on it, it's phenomenal. And now, so do I think that they've figured out how to do all of this? No, I don't. Maybe they did. I don't know. How am I supposed to know? I'm in the 99%. I'm with you dummies. We're fighting because Trump called something a poo hole. We're fighting over dumb stuff instead of the fact that there shouldn't be any secrets, right? We should have evolved past this a long time ago. You know, there's an herb called the astragalus herb. I talked about it a long time ago. And the Chinese used to eat this astragalus herb. Why did they eat this herb? And the brother who lived on the mountain, who they say lived 500 years, he used to eat the herb too. Which, by the way, before he died, he said, I'm just tired. I could live forever, but I don't want to. I don't like living forever. I've had so many wives. I've had, I don't know, 60-some children, or however, and I've watched my children die, and I don't want this anymore, so I'm going to die. And he died. That gets into mind over matter, thought over energy. Thought is energy, right? The idea that greater things Jesus could do, you can do also. The nocebo and placebo effect, right? We know that these things are real and they're factual, and they all agree and they all relate. Why it's important not to fight with people and argue with people and get emotional over dumb stuff and divide. You need to know what everybody else knows, and everybody else needs to know what you know. And a lot of what we know is just going to be some BS, which is okay. But that's the only way we get to a place where we become citizens of a world on a planet that we got to get the hell off of this thing. We should have a class. Can we have a class in elementary school? And can they call it, get the hell off this thing? Can we do that? Will y'all back me up? If I ran for government and I wanted every school children to have a class called Get the Hell Off This Rock, would y'all back me up? I know, sometimes I say some crazy stuff. Hold on, let me see what y'all are talking about. I want to get off of this screen. I was down a couple rabbit holes. I'm not sure. Did I hit all my rabbit holes? So this is where we need to go over here. But I need to fix my screen. Hold on, I'm gonna do some magic, y'all. I'm gonna do some magic. Y'all gonna worship me. Hold on, let me worship. Let me show you. Uh-oh. And watch, I'm gonna play with this, and my broadcast is gonna mess up again, probably. I know, I shouldn't be, but it's magic, y'all. Y'all gonna worship me. Hold on. I think that's the best I can get it for right now. The light keeps changing in here. I'm in my sunroom, that's why it's messing up. So, if y'all can deal with that. All right. So we gotta get the hell off the planet. We need a class in daycare called Get the Hell Off This Rock or We All Gonna Die. We need a political party. It's not politics. It's just a political party. It's in every country, every government. It's called Get the Hell Off. And we all join that party. And every policy in the party is all about just people coming together, uniting, and getting the hell off the planet before we all die again. Sister Mary, what you talking about, girl? It's all about electromagnetic energy that surrounds us. It is. Which is crazy that it's factual, isn't it? It's crazy that this stuff is real. But it all surrounds us, right? It's like, you know what? My kids got in trouble. My son, he got in trouble last night. I went in his room last night, and he had a cell phone right here on his face. And, of course, I took his cell phone. I gave it back to him because I'm a big softy. I'm a punk. I'm always a pushover for kids. They push me over all the time. Anyway, but he slept with the cell phone that's pumping out electromagnetic energy, right? We all know the warnings on cell phones. I don't have to go there. You already know this. You saw the article. They said don't have a cell phone within an arm's length of your head when you go to sleep because it creates brain cancer. It alters cells, which is all related, right? This is all on that science. We know electromagnetic energy affects things. There are people who shut down Wi-Fi. There are people y'all called crazy because they had a condition where they could feel electricity and they couldn't sleep in a house where you had electricity. We thought they were crazy. Hold on. We thought they were crazy. I gotta get my tinfoil hat, man. Y'all didn't think I had one? I got one. I got my tinfoil hat. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it on. I got my hat. I'm not playing, man. You got sometimes you don't ever know. It's possible. That girl, she saved a whole bunch of people with water and tinfoil hats. So I wear my hat. So these people that have these tinfoil hats, these Mylar, to protect them from electromagnetic radiation. But we know this is all true, but everything is energy, and we let people experiment with all this stuff, roll out all these devices into our houses, and we buy up all this stuff, which is built on slave labor, by the way, which is back to the pool hole and why the world is a pool hole, because we want minerals from everybody. We leave them in the fourth world. So, but it's all related. It's all, and I thank you for saying that, Mary. Everything around us is. So maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe perhaps we need to think about different types of technology. Maybe we should force corporations as a global citizenry to test all of this crap before they sell it to us and put it in our houses. Maybe. This is science, but it's not science that's studied because we can't use it to murder people and steal their land. Hashtag Israel and Palestine, y'all need to stop fighting. Jerusalem is not the capital. Damn it. Stop it. Y'all divide up on dumb stuff, but that's politics. We're not doing politics. Yes, it's amazing. It's crazy stuff. It's crazy cool. Yes, Jasmine. Let me see. So, and I'll post it if y'all haven't seen. I thought I posted earlier this morning, so I think Jasmine, you watched it. But it's interesting stuff, right? The smartest people I know are the people who question everything, and nothing is crazy beyond reproach. If I come to your house and you got a tinfoil hat on your head, damn it, where's mine? I'm in your house. I don't know what's in your house. I'm not going to pretend that I know anything, but there could be some electromagnetic energy that's altering my DNA, so I'm going to get the hat, you know. But again, it's about having common decency and respect for people, not getting emotional, getting in your groups, fighting over silly stuff, and creating all kinds of problems. All right. So the elites know this, and they're keeping it from us. Yes, Mary, they always do, because we let them. We let them. We praise them. We cheer them. And they continue to possibly build ships in orbit to get the hell out of here while we're staying here. This is not our future. We can't stay here, y'all. This is not our planet. Earth is not home. Earth will kill us. You know what? There was a movie. Hold on. I don't know if I did it yet. There was a movie. What is the name of the movie? Will Smith came back to Earth, right? The human race, they had to leave Earth. Something happened. Aliens came. It's always some aliens. They always blame the aliens. They came or something happened. Humans had to leave. And they went back on accident and they crashed on Earth. What is the name of that movie? I thought I had it queued up. I don't have it queued up. But they went back to Earth. All right. I forgot the name of the movie. Somebody will tell it. And he said, son, you got to be careful. I know I'm messing the quote up. Stop it. Everything on Earth evolved to kill humans. Sounds like sci-fi, doesn't it? No, it's not sci-fi. Everything on Earth right now is evolving to kill everything else. That's how this works, right? That's why we perhaps were made from the dust of the earth. Everything is always trying to kill everything else. It's how survival happens. And so if everything is evolving on Earth to kill us from a microbiology level, not just the animals, but everything, it's all about survival and acquisition of energy. It's just how things work. You don't want to be in an environment where everything's trying to kill you. So we got to get out of here. Yes, good movie. Good movie. I forgot the name of it, but good movie. That's on the tip of my tongue. Okay, then the opposite is possible with G 5 technology. As humans, we are mostly water, and our DNA can be enhanced by frequency. Which way will this go? Yes, Jennifer, thank you. Which is why you don't get to put a G5 tower over my freaking house or in front of the Holland Tunnel. Where's that tower at? They won't tell nobody what it does and what it is. If we know that human beings are affected by wave energy so bad, stop cheering and clapping for G5 and the next version of phones that'll be, oh, so much faster and smarter and better. They can modify your DNA, dummy. They can literally kill you. I don't know. Let's think about that. Can they kill you with a Wi-Fi device? Possibly, right? So if it's wave energy, and we know digitally that DNA can be coded and in order to modify itself. And I don't know the exact technology, but we are within a dot, Jennifer. Like you scared the hell out of me. I'm scared, y'all. Shoot, I might shut this down and get the hell out of here. But we're in a place where if that is true, it's not true because we know it's true. We just watched the scientists do it, the smart guy. Then they can actually modify your DNA with a transmission from a Wi-Fi device digitally and kill you. How crazy is that? That's crazy. Or it's just science that we're not allowed to know because we don't demand no privacy. We don't demand no classified information. We don't demand no top secret. We can elect someone to run the world and they still don't get to know this information. These are things global human citizens need to be talking about. Technology is not bows and arrows anymore. We're not at a place where government can have any secrecy. Nothing can be secret. There can be no secret lab anywhere on this planet because the only reason that they're secret for only 2 reasons. One, because they want to murder somebody with it through a war. They want to be able to make technology to kill other humans and they don't want anyone else to have the technology. Ignorant, dumb, if you support that, yes, I know I said some real bad words, but that is ignorant. That's stupid to support that. 2, it's because they want to make money with it, right? It's a pharmaceutical company or somebody who wants to make the technology to do something with, and so they can make a lot of money, so they want another corporation figuring out or finding it out. They want to get the patent and sell it. Ignorant, stupid, greed, dumb, 1%. The only reason they have secrecy is for things that are not to anyone's benefit in the 99%. So no, they can't have any secrets. So yes, spot on, Jennifer, off the hook, off the charts. I don't know, but somebody who knows, a smart guy with some glasses should be looking at this right now and saying, no, they can't do this with a Wi-Fi device. But they could if they put this transmitter on the side of it to do that. And so when the next corporation who wants to roll it out and put that transmitter on, hell no, you can't put that in. You can modify my DNA. I was thinking about something a long time ago. I always had these crazy theories in my head. You know, that if ants wanted to kill us, they could kill the entire human race. There are more ants than, ants outnumber us was like 1 million, 1 billion to 1, whatever it is. If all the ants got together and decided they all wanted to kill us, they could kill us overnight. And the human beings, we'd be gone off the species. We'd just be gone off the planet. Why would you want the 1% of the 1%, actually anybody, to have a button to send a transmission to every Wi-Fi device in a country and murder everybody in that country? Or the 99% in the world. Why would you want anyone to have that button? Talking about button man. Why would you want people who don't know you, don't like you? They didn't grow up in a trailer park or a ghetto or a impoverished upbringing in a mine, mining coltan or running from American drones. They didn't grow up there. Why in the hell would you want somebody like that with a button that could perhaps alter DNA of everybody while they're sleeping all over this planet? How stupid are we as a species? We don't deserve to exist if that's possible. I know my green screen is really crappy right now, but I'm on a tangent. Just leave me alone. I'm going. And so let me keep going. Sister Mary said, that's why those rich psychopaths are living so damn long. Yeah. So I think you might be on to some longevity type stuff, and it makes perfectly good sense. Why in the world would they let us know what they're up to? Why in the world? Hold on, let me see if I can find a better spot. That's annoying me. Oh, that's the alien. Oh my God, that's scary. Yeah, no, I might just have to deal with it. This is what you gotta do when you I do this for fun, yo. I don't have the ability to make some big studio or anything like that. Y'all want me to make a big studio? Send me some damn money. Send me some damn money. Hold on. Okay, that one looks bad. Let's see if I can find a better looking one. Nope, that's the one I just, but that one looks better. Look at that. Okay, the top of my head looks like I got a tinfoil on it, so we're good. And spiders, so it's not even just ants, it's spiders. Spiders out there. Do you know, if you look at some studies, it'll tell you that there's always a spider within, I think it's something like 2 feet of you. There's always a spider. You scared of spiders? Don't be. This is how the planet works. They're everywhere. Spiders could kill us in our sleep too. I just don't want anyone to have that key. All right. Yes, Jennifer said intention is key. Thank you, Jennifer. Intention is every damn thing. We're either deploying software and technology to help human beings, or we deploy it to murder human beings, or we deploy it for profit. And this is why I'm saying we're at a place in our evolution where we should be smart enough to not hand the queen ant the ability to murder all of us. It's just a really stupid idea, not for nationalism, not for race, not religion, not any damn thing. Nothing is important as giving a very few number of people on this planet the ability to murder us. And how do we do that? By dividing. We are divided and we are conquered as a 99%. And they can do anything they want to us because we're still stupid talking about what the media tells us to. All right, so keep going. Grounding earthling. Yes, we are earthlings. We are grounders. That's how we need to. We need to think about our global mindset. We need to think about global citizenry, which is why I don't look at local news and I don't look at United States news. I look at the world's news because we need to unite across a planet. There are people in our country who don't get it, and they're not going to get it for a while. They're still fighting over elections and silly stuff. But people who actually get it, if we meet, perhaps we've gotten to a place of a maximum climax of people in our country who actually are thinking and evolved deep enough to think about the world as opposed to their country or their group or their guild or their little agenda. We need to spread across the world, and we need to be talking to people across the world about all of these things, everything, all the secrets. And then other people will come along, you know, I'm not hating on people who don't get it, who aren't waking up. But they're not ready. We need to talk to people who are ready. We need to talk to people whose minds are open enough to process what we're talking about. It's not me, it's what we're talking about. So I appreciate y'all sharing this out. I think it's very important that people have these discussions. Let me see what else y'all talk. I always like to read my comments. That's how I get smarter. If I just think with my own thoughts, I stay stupid. This makes me think of Rife machines and healing frequencies. Yes, and they've been talking about healing by touch, right? They talked about, I mean, even in religions where you could heal someone with thought, and there were certain healers, people could touch you. You know, Christ could just walk by you. If you touch the hem of his garment, you know, he could say something and you'd be healed. And that's just my religion, what I think about. But there are a lot of places. There, you know, I actually, you know, I used to laugh at the church videos you watch when they hit the person in the head. Oh, Lord Jesus. They pass out and they get up and start dancing and push the wheelchair aside. I laugh at that, but now we know. See, a lot of that stuff is, I think most of it is fake, right? But I think some of it might be true. It's fake based on stories told in a religion by an ancient culture that was based on facts that were known by people way back then that we don't have a connection to because we keep letting the 1% rob our damn archaeology sites. What y'all doing in Gunung Pandang? Why do we hear noises in the pyramids at night? I know I'm yelling, but I get angry sometimes. That technology is not for them. It's for the world. All right. Yes, in China, they knew it. Thank you, Buddha. Elaine. Chinese, they knew it a long time ago. They've been using astragalus for 5,000 years. They knew that when you gave it to people, people got better. They didn't need to know that it actually repairs, it reactivates the telomerase enzyme inside of people when it repairs chromosomes, which is what it does. All they knew was that I give this to John, John's sick, got the blue bumps go away, John lives. Otherwise, John would die. You know, but they hand that information down and we throw it out. You know, of course, I forgot what cancer organization came out and said, well, But this stuff, it doesn't, it could promote cell life and cancerous cell growth. And so people are scared of it. So they sit back, they don't take astragalus, and they wait for, the medical industry to come out with a profitable way to save their lives. And so in the meantime, people are dying all over the place because we're not exploring the holistic healing. And that's another place where, secrecy. So we know that this stuff works. We force studies to happen on this stuff all over the planet. Why? Because people are dying, right? This isn't politics. People are dying because we're all divided over this silly stuff. So, yes, absolutely. So the Chinese knew, the ancients knew all of this stuff, and we have to pay attention to what they knew. People in line, I read The Art of Queuing in the book, The Russians by Hendrik Smith. I didn't read that book. Thank you, Sister Kimberly. I take a look at it. I actually have a book list I think that everybody needs to read, books on that list. So if you submit me a book, I'll take a look at it and add it to the list. But I think there's a wake-up book list that people need to start reading. So we reprogrammed it out of us. My friend Margaret, oh, I'm sorry to hear about that, Kimberly. But that's why this stuff is real. This stuff is real because people die. People die from a lack of technology, and they lack technology because we allow the technology in our world to be used for the wrong things. And energy surrounds the whole universe. And that's another good question, Mary. What happens? Wasn't that one of the Mayan theories about 2012 where the world perhaps comes to an end because we enter into a different part of the universe where physics is a little different? It doesn't take a whole lot to actually shut down our planet. There was a good TV show. I used to watch it with my kids. It was one where electricity stopped working all over the world, and everybody went back into pretty much the Stone Ages. It doesn't take a whole lot to shut down electricity on this planet. All we got to do is enter into a part of the galaxy where physics and electromagneticity is a little different. All it takes is an asteroid or something in orbit that can change all of that, and we go back to the Stone Ages. So, but it's all around us, which is why, back to the original point, this planet is not ours. It is not for us, and we don't get to stay. So we got to get off of this planet. And acupuncture, right, in acupuncture, that's a good thing, Buddha. Energy meridians that run through your body that correlate to our organs and used for healing, right? And so we know that we study these things now. We know that they're true. We don't know all the details, right? And it could be that the person who does the acupuncture has more of a belief in it. Maybe the person who receives it has more belief in it. So there are a lot of things that we don't know, but we don't we don't study them, so we don't know. Or not in the mainstream. Mary, you silly. Mary said I had a tinfoil toupee. Don't leave my tinfoil toupee. Leave my thing alone. See, you can't even see it now because my screen is messed up, which is why I know I'm about to have to start to end this at some point. Jennifer said, why can't our numbers unite to adapt and resonate at a higher frequency to make changes to our environment? I think we can. I am an optimist. I try to be a realist as well, in that people are emotional creatures, right? We allow agendas to drive us, and I think we're bad at prioritizing. I think if we become better at prioritizing what's important, that the human race is more important than our group, our guild, our group, our political party, whatever little silly group we're in, I think we actually can come together. And as far as resonating on frequencies, we know these things are true, but we don't have the science, enough of the science in the mainstream to show people that, yes, when you get people around the world thinking positive, affecting the water, affecting the food, affecting our own microbiology, affecting each other, that human beings are less violent. We have less interest in murdering and killing each other. So I think we can do it, but it involves people who get it to share it as much as we share the pretty kitten pictures, the funny videos, the things that distract us, the president who calls countries poo holes, right? If we start sharing the science and promoting these scientists who want to do the studies and they want the money to do the research, then people can start to process that, oh, the world sucks and is a poo hole. because I'm a poo hole and I think about poo all the time and I get behind people who make poo holes. All right. The universe is our home. Yes, it is. This movie with his son. Yeah, I forgot the name. After Earth. Yes, thank you, Buddha. It's called After Earth. That was to me, it's a documentary. It is like the future of humanity. We got it. The only thing that didn't make sense to me is that they actually were like living on another planet. That doesn't make any sense. Once we get into space, there's no reason for us to live on a planet. We know planets always die, which is why, like I said, I don't think we're a species that's designed to live on planets. I think we're just supposed to fly around. We harvest resources, we collect things as we go, but we keep exploring. And science agrees with that. We stay here, we die. All right. You're late to this one, Brother Chris. We got to go back to the beginning. We got into some great stuff in the early beginning, but usually when we have these talks, like it ends in a place, right? Like it walks us down a path, which is why you got to go back and watch the beginning of these talks, because people post things, they send me thinking certain ways, and I'll post things and we'll show some videos. So, you know, this was about, I'm not sure what this was about. We just hit a whole bunch of topics, but the point was just identifying the truth in things. The world can't have any secrets. We have science now that is earth killing, right? In the wrong hands. There can't be any secrets in any governments or any groups or any labs anywhere in this world. Everybody needs to know what everybody's working on. Yeah, I was talking to stuff. I was down a whole rabbit hole today, Brother Chris. How do you think the North California fires started with changing the frequency of electrical current? You know, Rebecca, I'm not going to touch that one. I know I've seen enough videos be shut down when you talk about that. So I'm not going to talk about it. I'll let you post all you want on it, but it's obvious certain things we're not supposed to be talking about. So weekends are saved for aliens and stuff. Yes, Buddha, that's what we do. We gotta have some fun, and we have to talk about all the lies. Let's talk about all the lies. Ants work together. Yes, they do. We gotta be smart as ants. Deborah said, no, prefer you be alive and small than you be a big target. Yeah, you can't get big in this world. You can't anymore because it's too easy. You become a Martin Luther King, you die. You become a JFK, you die. You become a Gandhi, you die. You become a John Lennon, you die. You say anything that's, you know, Michael Hastings, you die. You become a Seth Rich, you die. You know, like, you should see how this works. Anybody who gets to a point where they start talking about unity of people and doing something great for humanity, they die. So you can't get big. We have to be a republic of just people all across the planet who are planet focused, big, you know, large-minded people, open-minded people who don't have small focus, and there is no major leadership. Like Brother Bajorn was talking about, we actually don't need leadership. Every child is born knowing right from wrong. So, hey, Jennifer, yeah, my book list is posted. There's an album in my photos called, I think it's called Book List, actually. So all that stuff is in there. Sister Jennifer said, empaths can sense these vibrations. Yep. And just more things that because we don't allow the study of them. We don't support them. We don't cheer them because we're lost in some sort of an ignorant place. So my green screen's dying. We've been running on, I guess, about an hour and a half now, something like that. So I'm sorry, Lorraine, you just joined. It's your first time watching from Baltimore. Hey, girl, home girl, I'm from Maryland. So we homies. We homies all over the world. But anyway, no, I'm just shutting down. You got to go watch the beginning of the broadcast, and you'll get the details as to what we were talking about today. But my green screen is dying. The light is fading. The fading light ruins green screen, so I'm going to shut down. And the fading light also destroys a planet. Be planet-minded. This is Gerard. Thanks for joining and hanging out with me today. Find some more love in your heart. Talk to people who are not like you. Turn against people who try to tell you who the enemy is. Never let the mainstream media pick your topics, the things you talk about. Never let them pick the battleground. Never let them pick your weapons, because The mainstream media, they work for the people who are preventing us from getting to a place where we are a global citizenship. Think global, buy local. Y'all have a great day. Love y'all.